This is the River Morriston, and we are at Invermorriston, and these are the falls here. Lovely. It's not particularly spectacular falls, but it's lovely with the two old bridges in the background as well. And the river is a very dark, peaty colour, like so many of the rivers around here. And like Loch Ness as well, this feeds into Loch Ness.
Call it off, let it go.
Having just left the falls, we found this rope swing. So Jill's going to give it a go. Good luck.
Cool.
How's that?
Nice.
It's quite solid, isn't it?
Twisting round. Yeah, like you did.
Yeah, no, you're twisting around indeed. No, it's quite solid.
It is not bad at all, actually.
Who doesn't like to be a kid at times? Got to do these things, haven't you?
Got to be done. Got to be done. So this is the old Invermorriston Road Bridge. It was built or completed in 1813, so over 200 years ago. And it was held, when it was being built, there was a man who basically provided the money and was a guarantor for the cost of the bridge building, which was completed by Thomas Telford, by the way. But actually he was £2,000 out of pocket, and they blamed the fact that there was languid and inattentive contractors and idle workers for that. And the reason Thomas Telford built these bridges was to try and improve communication in the Highlands. He wanted people to be able to get around more easily and actually communicate with each other more effectively. And this bridge is lovely, and it's a fantastic reminder of all the work that Thomas Telford did. Good morning, everybody. This is where we camped last night. It is an absolutely incredible spot in the middle of nowhere. We had a very interesting journey to get here yesterday, didn't we, Rog?
We did. That was partly my fault because we got the location from Park for Night, but I didn't actually read all the reviews. And most of the reviews said, don't go in via Loch Ness. We went in via Loch Ness. And it was an interesting road, to say the least. It was hairpin bends.
Single track with no passing places at all.
But very, very steep. It was, we got there, but it did say at the bottom, unsuitable for caravans
And HGVs.
and heavy goods vehicles. So I thought, well, that's fine. We're a light goods vehicle. We should be fine. But I wouldn't have wanted to bring anything bigger than Henry up here.
And a lot of people did say that vans were the same size. They didn't even attempt it, or they did and they gave up halfway.
Yeah.
Although quite how they did that, we don't know, because they wouldn't have been able to turn around on that road, but there you go.
So they'd have had to reverse all the way down again. But yeah, it was a fabulous spot.
Yeah, it's an amazing spot. So quiet and peaceful last night as well. There was a van that went past us just after we arrived, which is parked up there somewhere, and a cyclist that went past that we never saw again either. So I don't know what happened to him. But somebody else said they saw a cyclist, so presumably he's a regular, or she is a regular.
Yeah. But as Jill says, really, really quiet and very cold last night.
It was quite cold last night, but that's what you expect in a place like this, isn't it?
Yep.
And very little birds, actually, as well, which was quite surprising.
Yeah.
A few birds today you can hear, but not many. So this is the famous Car Bridge, the old pack horse bridge that used to cross, well, it still does cross the river. It was built in the 1700s because when the river was in flood, there was no way of getting across the river, and it was delaying things like burials locally. So the locals paid a particular stipend to build this bridge in the 1700s, organised by Brigadier General Grant of Grant, who was the clan chief. And it stood here for many years until in 1829 there was a massive flood and the sides and part of the bridge got washed away, and it's been basically standing like that ever since. And it's quite an impressive structure.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
It is beautiful. It looks lovely as it is now.
And with the blue skies behind,
Yeah.
it looks even better.
Yeah, it does indeed. So we've driven to Killiecrankie Visitors Centre, and this is Soldier's Leap. And this is where Donald McBain, who was a redcoat soldier who was fleeing the Jacobites, apparently leapt 5.5 metres from one side of the river to the other in 1688. Obviously we don't know if that's true, but...
Seems a long way to go, doesn't it?
What, 5.5 metres?
5.5 metres to jump.
It does seem quite, considering the world record for a long jump is however long it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it does seem. But then you never know, the adrenaline might have kicked in, mightn't it?
If your life depended on it.
Yep.
And also it depends on whether it's straight across or down a bit as well, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's very true, which you can't really tell from this height, can you?
No, if it's down to the other side, then maybe.
Yep. Not that we're sceptical or anything.
No, not at all, never.
This is the Balfour Stone, and apparently Brigadier Barthold Balfour of the Dutch Brigade, who commanded the left wing of the Redcoat Army, was killed by one of the Jacobite Athol men, and this stone was placed here. Well, this stone is reputed to be the site of his grave, which Roger just stood on when we walked along the path. He stopped right on the top of it and went, oh yeah, that'll be it
I
then.
didn't realise at the time.
We don't know if it is his grave or not, but that's reputed to be the mark of his grave.
Sorry, Brigadier.
So we parked at the Killycranky Visitors Centre. We've walked 2.5 miles to this. This is the Falls of Tummel. This is the River Tummel, and these falls go down the river until it joins the River Garry just down there. And they're very pretty. We had a bit of an interesting walk to get here because the footbridge was closed, so we had to go up and down a bit more than we would do normally, but it was a very lovely walk through the woods, lovely. We are visiting Blair Castle today. We've just been inside and it was very, very interesting. We weren't allowed to do any videoing inside, which was fair enough. But it was fantastic. We spent over an hour in there just wandering around. There was about 30 rooms that you could go and see as well. And this basically it started in the 1200s and it's still lived in today, I believe. And it was the 10th Duke of Athol who basically converted this mostly to tourism. And it's been very much a tourist attraction in the Highlands ever since. And we're hoping to go and see the Hercules Garden because apparently the gardens are just as important as the castle here. So we're hoping to go and see some of the gardens as well. So we are now in the Hercules Garden of Blair Castle, and we were just saying it's absolutely amazing. So they've got an orchard here, various apple trees and things both sides. There's a big lake in the middle, and it's got a huge wall all the way round. I don't know what it would have been used for. I think it was just for decoration by the sound of it. Done in the 1700s, I believe, in the height of the Georgian expansion of the castle. But it is lovely. There's a couple of gardeners working down there as well.
I was saying I'm not sure how useful the wall would have been because wind would have just blown off over that hill over there.
Yeah.
Straight into the garden, so that's what my interpretation of a walled garden was to stop the wind coming in. It doesn't look like a vegetable garden, does it?
No, it's a bit big for that. So this is St Bride's Kirk, and it stands here. These ruins date from about the 16th century, but actually we know that much older buildings stood here, much older churches have been here since Celtic times, we imagine. And in 1275, when Scottish churches had to pay tithes to finance the Crusades, St Bride's Kirk was noted as paying 32 shillings, which was the equivalent of £1.60. Moving on a little bit in time, about 1475, the Argus of Islay raided Blair Athol, and he took the Earl and Countess refuge. The Earl and Countess took refuge in the church, and then he basically captured them and took them prisoner. And on his return to Islay, Angus of Islay experienced a fierce storm which he interpreted as punishment for his actions. So he returned to Blair Athol, and it's reported that he rebuilt the kirk as a penance. And
But you can still get married here today.
You can still get married here today. Yes, there's lots of lots of outdoor weddings that take place here. Sadly, there is no roof to the church, but you can still get married here. And I imagine on a lovely day, it would be a beautiful place to get married as well.
On a lovely day.
On a lovely day, which isn't today, unfortunately. I just got very excited because I saw my first red squirrel. It just ran up this tree or round this tree here in front of us, which was very exciting because we've been seeing all the signs for ages and ages. We haven't seen any red squirrels until today.
There's been hundreds of signs, haven't there?
There have been
saying
hundreds of
red
signs.
squirrels, and we were
Yep.
thinking, yep, okay, we're going to see a red squirrel, but
We started to
haven't
think they were
actually seen it.
inventing them, didn't we?
Yeah, we certainly did. Continuing in my theme of foods of countries, today we are trying the Scottish butter tablet. No idea again what this is going to be like. Jill very kindly bought it for me. She's been looking for it for a while.
Well, I've been looking for a bit that wasn't 3 times the size of a Christmas cake, if you know what I mean. Some of it seems to come in enormous chunks. It's quite weighty.
It is very heavy.
Yes, it is very
ridiculously heavy. I have a feeling after the exploits of my deep fried Mars bar and my
Iron brew.
iron brew that this is also going to be very, very sweet. But I have a sweet tooth, but we'll give it a go.
Very crumbly.
Once again, exceptionally sweet. It's like hard fudge, I would say. So
Okay.
I always think of fudge as being kind of chewy. This isn't chewy.
It's not... Yeah, I guess it is
Yeah.
chewy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is hard fudge. Again, sorry Scottish people, but it's not for me.